kind of grew up thinking my dad was Ace Frehley because he played in a Kiss tribute band.
Welcome, everybody, to the green room. This is Ed. I'm here with Goose, Chris, and Lucas.
What's up?
Also known as Monochromatics.
Yes, and we have
Very special guest from all the way from Ottawa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in Ottawa.
Beauty. Tom Edwards. You guys, I didn't even catch your names there, sorry. The rest of the band is there too.
You guys?
I'm Ryan Wolves. Mitch Foster.
Nice. Good to meet you guys.
Nice to meet
They
you.
are in the band called Eagleson.
Yes, sir.
And Eagleson is a band.
Yeah.
Well, that's how they do their hashtag, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See?
I like it.
Yeah, so what's going on, guys?
Not much. We're actually we're sitting in our studio right now, and we're right in the middle of a couple things. We're prepping for a couple of festival slots that we have this year.
Oh, cool.
Which is cool because it's kind of the first chapter of kind of these bigger shows. And kind of some bigger opportunities spun off a song that we put out called Chasing the Sun last year.
Yeah, you guys made a music video for that, right?
Yeah, that was actually filmed here. We the people who film it are like a lot of good friends and family of ours and stuff, and they're really, really talented at what they do. So we're fortunate to have kind of like a wicked team of people behind us for doing stuff. That just kind of alleviates a lot of pressure that comes from, as you guys know, being a band outside of just playing your guitar. There's so many things that can like take up so much time and everything, and it's nice when you can let go and kind of know that other people are way better at you than doing certain things. So we can just write tunes and make them, and then we have, you know, certain people who handle different things, which is just works out super well. So
Yeah, man, you always gotta make yourself the weakest link, right? Like.
Yeah, well, that's it. And then after, at the same time as we have prepping for these festivals, which one of them is put on by the radio station that picked us up here in Ottawa. We get to play a place called Lansdowne Park, where like our CFL team plays and stuff like that.
Sick.
So it's kind of a spot that we've all went to see like concerts or hockey games and shit for so long. So it's a cool thing to be kind of on kind of the other side of it, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we've maintained some good relationships with some big bands that are kind of the headlining acts and stuff of the festival we're playing, which is great. And then the second festival that we're getting ready for is, I don't know if you guys have it out where you guys are, but like Bo's Beer. It's,
I don't think so.
It's mostly Ontario.
Yeah, it might be an Ontario thing. They're like this massive beer company. Anyways, they hold this Oktoberfest that's just like an absolute monster shit show.
How do we play there?
Yeah, how do we get there?
Yeah.
Like 35,000 people at this thing. Like
That's awesome.
just everyone just drinks, and they one of our sponsors puts on sponsors and builds a stage and a big half pipe called the Black Forest stage.
Nice.
Where it's like the punk rock and metal and hardcore section of the festival.
Oh, that's cool.
And what's fun is because we get to rip on that stage, and this year the headliners of that stage is Cancer Bats, which is
Sweet.
their guitar player Scott is the one who's producing our record right now.
Oh, crap.
So it's kind of a cool thing to be able to like not only be making music with a dude like that right now, but like we get to go rip a set on the same stage on the same night, and you know, kind of supporting them. So it's a really cool change, I guess, for what's going on for shows. But other than that, we're getting into finishing the writing and stuff for the record, and then getting into just getting everything recorded, and then we let other people mix it and make us sound good, and then, you know, go from there.
That's super cool.
Is there a deadline for the album?
Sorry?
Is there a deadline for the album, or?
No.
No. Cool.
It's better that way.
We set deadlines for certain like chapters of things we
yeah.
gotta do, like
Right.
which just sort of helps us get through all the different steps and whatever. But you know, we've kind of all learned our lesson at one point or another. Then, like, you know, throwing up something that says, "Hey, this is coming at this time," like, get stoked, you know, and then like
2 years later.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, it's good to know that it's not
My
just
mom
us
are
that do that.
stoked.
We know
That's
all
it.
too well how that goes.
Yeah, we spent 3 years in the studio with our first album.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just takes as long as it needs to take, right? So
Well, we weren't expecting it to take that long, and then
No.
we had like, oh yeah, it's coming this year, and then nothing. We were like, oh.
Well, you just
Yeah.
don't go back for a while, and then when you do go back, it's like, where were we? So you try to pick it back up.
Well, and you kind of went on hiatus halfway in between. and
Yeah.
some stuff went on, so
Yeah, life
Yeah, I was
happened.
gone for
life
about a year,
happened,
yeah.
and we both had kids. So
Yeah, man.
a
So
lot-
we're like a dad band now.
Yeah, we're dead.
did you guys make your record in like because you guys are just outside of Winnipeg, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we recorded in Altona, Manitoba.
Yeah.
There's a little studio in somebody's basement there. That's where we did all the recording. They actually mixed and mastered it for us as well.
Sick.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's-
the recordings sound good. They did a good job on stuff.
Yeah. I could have spent probably another 150 hours a song, but
Yeah.
Like,
You
Goose
know-
can
you know how it
spend so
goes.
much time on there.
it gets
That's
expensive.
Are you guys touring
Well-
or coming out this way? I should ask. Anytime soon? To Manitoba?
Sorry,
Are you guys coming out to Manitoba anytime soon?
hopefully, yes. But that's all to be seen
Yeah.
once this album's done.
We've got to kind of grow. You know, I mean, you guys are in a band. You know what it's like. You know, to get out to another market and stuff like that. I mean, I met Goose because I was with a different band that was doing a tour thing, but like we weren't the focus of that whole tour thing. We were like the musical,
Yeah.
you know, entertainment, I guess, for this like show.
That was a
kind
good
of
time
thing.
though.
It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
remember
we,
that show,
We
yeah.
happened to do a one-off show with Goose's band, and that's how we met and stuff like that. But that was a random occurrence. So out there, you know, with that band, we were there because we had a different thing that already had legs and attraction and people that want to see it. And then we just happened to pick up like this sweet local show at night, you know,
Yeah.
kind of thing one night. So it's really cool to get out to places like that. But I think we're gonna have to leverage like not only the album we're making and stuff, but like it's so important these days to have friends out in different places that you can get over and rip with and play. Because I think no matter what type of band you want to be or where you want to go, like that rooted thing is so important in every town or city you go in. So, I mean, right now it's trying to find whatever opportunity we can to get out to places like that right now, you know, big or small.
Well, that's actually a question that we asked Alan Cross. Like we're in the middle of nowhere. Like we're 100 kilometers from Winnipeg. We're 600 kilometers from Regina. We're oodles away from Ontario. And
Yeah.
then in south in the U.S., we're another 150 kilometers. But then you got to
Yeah.
cross the border and try to explain why you have all this gear in your vehicle. Right?
Yeah.
Like, and then, so we asked him like what his recommendation was for us to, you know, just push to the next level. And he said, you literally just got to play every show, even if 2 people show up.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, like, where we are in our market, like Ottawa, you know, if you don't know the city well or anything like that, you know, it's the capital of Canada and stuff like that, and you think that, you know, it's a thriving spot for bands and musicians, and the weird thing is there's, like, this amazing amount of local talent and really high-quality musicians and stuff like that, but it's sort of a development spot where people branch out from Ottawa at a certain point and things like that. And we don't, like, for example, we don't have like a theater sized venue. It's either you're playing the stadium where the Senators play, or, you know, you're playing to 200 people. There's no like mid-range thing type of theater like there would be in Toronto or Montreal and stuff, and that I think sometimes has a bit of an influence for how the scene kind of moves and shifts over time.
Gotcha.
And there's no shortage of bands out here or anything like that, but you know, we're trying right now to, when we play in Ottawa, we're trying to make sure that we really are playing things that are special and a little bit different than what we've done before, or you know, trying to make every year better than the next. So you know, there's something to be said about if you're going to play maybe the same place a lot of the times through the year, you got to really make sure that all those shows get bigger and better for your fans and your audience and that kind of thing. So Ottawa, and I think you know, we're, even though we're in a city like this, sometimes we can feel just like you guys, right? Like where you feel like you're a million miles away from where you might want to go.
Yeah.
But if you can just kind of kick ass and rip some cool sets in your town and then just try to get out more and more. I mean, right now we've got a good connection down with Southern Ontario, around the Hamilton and Toronto area, because, you know, our producer's from that area, and, you know, he just happens to be in a band that, you know, is kind of like some OG Toronto repping dudes that have like really ripped and did their thing and have like, you know, right now are just crushing it around the globe, you know, and it's something to have connections like that, but that's where it just starts for us, which is really cool. So we're really looking forward to seeing where this record's going to take us as far as kind of locations and shows and, you know, basically everything.
So does he help you get it out? I guess
I think right now we're in the stages of like finalizing all the demo stuff. I mean, we probably demo songs 1,000 times before, you know, we actually get to the point where we're like, okay, cool, now let's record it again. Fuck, you know, like, but it's sort of through that ringer now where we're very close to that block of time where we're tracking drums and bass guitars and everything like that. But you know, a lot of the outside help past the amazing, you know, the songwriting influence that he's been involved with, the production ideas, and like really making the songs like flow super well and all that stuff. Outside of that, there's, you know, some good relationships that are developing for sure, but really comes down to just us just continuing to grind and like make it known that, like, for what it's worth, you know, our music is our music, but you're always going to know that we work our fucking ass off. And that's like the bottom line for what we've always done. And that's why in 2 years, we've really been able to like DIY top to bottom some shit that now gets played like on my way home, you know, in my truck. So like, it's a cool way to see it kind of go after, you know, we say 2 years for what we're doing right now, but like the three of us have been doing this for years, you know, and in different things and learning. And now it's just taking a whole different thing. And it's cool because I think at times you kind of get these reflections where you're like, shit, I learned something at some point, and I'm a little bit more credible right now than I knew, you know, than I thought I was or something. Yeah. So it's an exciting time for sure. And if we do work hard, you know, like I was saying, I think that a lot of those connections we're making now are going to just start flourishing, and you're going to see us kind of in places that even we didn't imagine we were going to go.
That's so cool, man. And I saw you guys were, you guys were in a radio station, right? Like they were interviewing you, I don't know if recently, but a couple months ago.
Yeah. Maybe? Well, you want to tell us?
Yeah.
Wakey.
I can drink now.
The background.
Yeah, well, that whole thing came about last year. They were doing like this Guitars for Vets sort of thing, and we brought them a guitar and donated a guitar to the radio station and just told them about our band and just kind of went along that route of things and told them like we have music coming. It's not ready for you guys yet, but we kept in contact with them through that, and then we finally got that video that you guys mentioned earlier there, Chasing the Sun. We brought that into them and they played it in their boardroom. They're like, fuck dudes, like, okay, send us a song now and like let's premiere it on here. and they got behind doing our release show for that single. So the radio station got to premiere the single and put out the song for that show and help support the show. They did like a big promotion campaign for it, and that really like got us in, like, and now we've got a really good working relationship with them.
That's so
through
cool.
all of that.
It was weird hearing like 30-second commercials about
Yeah,
a band,
super
about
weird.
a song that was like close, like Monster Truck Sunday. Like, it was sick.
Yeah.
It was so cool, but it was so like, you'd be in your car and it'd be like, fucking band Eagleson, you know, new song, Chasing the Sun. It was like, what? Like, I
That's
want to
cool.
buy tickets to that, and I'm in the band.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
that was
awesome.
Pretty,
That's
that was
sweet.
pretty unreal to
Yeah.
get that, and it just kind of led to like a good working relationship between us and them.
What's the radio station called?
It's called Rebel 1017.
Okay. Yeah.
They're
They're cool.
real rock station.
Yeah. Are they part of the Chorus
They're not-
Entertainment?
They're not the dad rock station.
Yeah.
No, they're cool. They're, you know, for some reason I've always been like a weird big radio fan, like big like Howard Stern fan and stuff. And that's why when I found out you were doing this, I was so stoked on it. 'Cause
Oh,
I was
cool.
Like, oh man, I love that stuff. You know, like, and I like, you kind of learn a little bit about how most radio stations are just owned by like one or two giant, you know,
Yeah.
Rogers and Bell kind of thing. They own a million of them. They all play the same shit.
And
You
there's
know,
only
no one who works there actually listens to the music they play. They just go, yeah, and that's another one from R. Kelly or some shit.
Yeah. Well, and then they get put into a
They're
box,
on it.
right? They have to say whatever they make them say.
Exactly. And these guys actually, they started this, they went right for, you know, no, it's not a college level frequency or anything. Like, they went straight to major radio station status, but they're completely independent and fund all their own shit. So
Oh,
what's
cool.
really cool is they do a lot for guys like us and for the people who are hustling. And that's kind of like this cool give and take we have back and forth, is like, you know, nothing was ever handed to us as a band. Every step of the way we always worked for it, and those guys gave us a big reminder of that as well. That, like, when we were saying, hey man, you know, thanks for putting us up, or, you know, or thanks for the favor in playing us, they just reminded us, like, it wasn't a favor for us to get on the air. That came down to good songwriting and just having good music.
Working your tail off.
Everything else outside of that, you know, being invited to play like one of their first big like events they're doing, the fact that they did like you know, presents, you know, Rebel 1017 presents Chasing the Sun debut show kind of thing, like it's been a really cool local push for us to have that backing in a place like Ottawa, where we might have our, you know, our difficulties in any music scene like any band has in any city, but for the people who listen to music here, a lot of them listen to that station because a lot of people here dig kind of the modern rock stuff.
Cool.
And they play some cool shit. Like, all the DJs just kind of play what they want to play, but it's stuff that you'll catch a song and you'll be like, yo, what? I didn't expect a radio station to play that.
Yeah, so they're
And
like
then
real
we-
DJs. Eh?
Yeah. We started to become something that I was like, I didn't think they were going to play that, you know? And then it just spun into creating this confidence within the band that, like, you know, we're on a tear right now. We've never been on a better stream of writing material or putting together stuff or, like, you know, trying different things. Like, that's the big thing in the development, I think, in any band, is that if it gets scary to try new things, something is wrong in the dynamic kind of thing. And it should never be scary with your homies to try different ideas and just get weird on songs. Exactly. Right? And
Butt stuff.
It's made us have like, you know how every band has certain characteristics? They'll play like certain chords or whatever that makes it like that band.
Yeah.
Yep.
We found different things for us that's identified us just from trying stuff and getting weird, you know? So mix that with the support we get here, mixed with the producing stuff we're getting now. I mean, like, everything is just looking way up right now. That is just such a cool feeling.
That's sick. I'm glad we caught you guys now before you
Yeah. I'll forget all the small
They
people.
want to, like, when we're passing through Manitoba, like, I want to sit there and interview someone else with you guys. That would
Yeah,
be
heck
Yeah,
yeah.
that'd be sweet.
I'm gonna hold you guys to that.
Yeah,
Oh man,
for
that'd be
sure.
cool.
Yeah. Well, the whole reason we started this green room is because we didn't have a way to engage with our social media fans.
Well, we
Yeah.
did, but we were really lazy about it.
We're
I
not
guess.
good at it. Let's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
put it that way. So we figured we're very good at talking about absolutely nothing. So we're like,
Yeah.
why don't we just record that, and then every week somebody can tune in and listen to our bullshit whether they want to or not. Like,
Well, what's cool is you're sticking to something just like being in a room as a band. You know,
Yeah.
like you're doing it for the sake of doing it, knowing that, or actually rather not knowing where it's going to go or what
Yeah.
it's going to
Yeah.
do, but like you just feel for some reason you should do it. And like, it's cool. Like having a guy like Alan Crossan, like so early to what you're doing, like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing to do. So congrats to you guys.
Thanks, man.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah. That was just a shot in the dark, man. I shot it at him, and he said yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was literally listening, like when I saw the post, I was listening to his podcast post, something about like weird studio stories kind of thing.
oh yeah.
Studios, and like then I came home, and sure enough, like it probably came up because my phone's listening to me all the time.
Yeah.
You know. And
Yeah,
sure enough-
NSA is helping you find us.
yeah. Google helped me find you.
Yes.
About time Google did something for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That always
Yeah,
helps me
and
out,
the whole hustling thing you were talking about, we just entered a contest to open for the Trues at
Yeah,
a
I
beach
saw that.
a beach show, and holy shit, man! Like, they literally left it open. You can vote as much as you want, or as much as your computer will allow before it blows up. But so it's between us and another band, and they're just kicking her ass.
They
right
don't
now.
stop all night.
though. They just keep going.
All night.
You know, to be completely transparent, man. Like I always have mixed feelings about that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and I never direct my mixed feelings towards like the bands that do
No.
stuff like that, right? Like never going like, oh man, fuck those guys because they do that stuff, you know,
Yeah,
or
no.
whatever. Like
I mean,
for us, we just found like I recently this year, like, you know, obviously not naming names or anything like that, but like a couple different people that I know in separate bands had done things kind of like this year, and what I found was that hands down musicianship and everything, they are absolutely top notch. Their bands are great. They're supported, they're played, you know, like they're great dudes and should have held the title and stuff like that. So I'm getting a phone call. I just took that. I find that a lot of the time when it comes to that, like whatever these guys are doing, jumping these votes and stuff like that, I mean, fuck, if they're from the same town you guys are in, how many people are there if it's not a huge city or anything, right? But their stuff just keeps stacking. So obviously there's a system or something they're figuring out or whatever. If it's all authentic fans, cool, great. But
It's not.
I think everybody knows that a lot of the time these things, it really doesn't come down to who's really working the hardest as a band to make their music the best. On like a rooted point, it's more about like, you know, the popularity contest thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes that
absolutely.
can really trump at the end of the day, like, you know, say hypothetically, I'm just speaking whatever, right? But like hypothetically, you guys are a band that just rips ass over these dudes or whatever and would put on a killer show for the people who would go see the Troops. And then maybe they might see a band that's not as good or whatever, but based on the voting thing, they got the thing. So at the end of it, the consumer in the crowd, the people who paid to see that show, might not see the best show that they paid to see based on that type of model. And I think that you see those type of shows a lot on small scale, or like, hey, come play this battle of the bands, and then you can go play this other big stage with an industry professional or something.
that's always
And-
that's like a
We've done
pyramid
that.
scheme.
Yeah, exactly. And the time it takes to dedicate to those things, to get all those votes and all that type of stuff, should really just be spent in the room getting better and just
Yeah,
being a better
totally.
band.
true.
Because that's gonna get the bigger opportunities. I mean, that in my
we played that game yesterday for the first day, and we just like kept up with them, and we'd get ahead of them by a few votes, and then like we were like, well, we're tired of this, let's have practice. And at the end of practice, we were down like 600 votes, and we're like, how? Like we practiced for 2 hours, and they just sat there and voted on their phones or whatever.
Exactly,
you know?
and
And
it's
like I get the website and why they do that, because people are supposed to go to this website and look at all of the bands
And smash that.
and then
button.
choose whichever one they like the best, and then they can discover new music, right? But like there's a way around it where bands can just vote for themselves as much as they want, right?
Imagine if this was something where, you know, in a city like Toronto, for example, they said, we're going to do this type of thing, but it's going to be no bands from Toronto. And it's going to be a downtown Toronto type of show with a big band like the Trues, but it's going to be bands from only outside of Ontario. And then all of a sudden it's like a forced thing of like, well, it fits with that thing, right?
Yeah.
You get a good promotional campaign. Somehow you find out all these people's music. You're into it. Go see the show. Find some cool music.
Well,
Yeah.
the cool thing is somebody spotted us through this thing, and they've offered us a show because of it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
Cool.
like,
Yeah.
hey, we already won.
True enough.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. That's the right way to look at it, man, for sure. It's like, you know, really just fuck that show with the vote thing.
Yeah.
You know, and like you guys are going to go rip this other thing and make cool friends and be able to have, you know, the same thing that, you know, we're looking for every day is there's another band in another city that is going to be rad to play a show with.
Yeah.
And we're just on a tear of finding out who those type of bands are in different places and get in touch with people who really seem like they're on that hustle thing that we're talking about, right? Like, that's the other thing. Finding people who work just as much as you are. When you're kind of the average of the group of people who are around you, you want to make sure that the bands that you're playing with and stuff are people who really want to work hard and do the thing with you. And then you can just like see it grow and grow and grow.
Yeah.
I think that's how a lot of like those iconic scenes in different cities at different times are like, you know, grunge in Seattle or rock in LA or whatever. Like we're kind of built on things like that.
Yeah, like 6-7 years ago, like when you guys came around,
came through, the scene
this
was
place
booming.
was crazy.
Yeah.
There was like our small town had 25 bands in it, and it was nuts. You could literally play every weekend if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like everybody showed up. I blame Guitar Hero actually. Guitar Hero made that whole, like for real. Kids picked up the guitar because they thought it was cool.
That's
again.
exactly why I started playing guitar. Yeah.
Yeah, you were one of the kids. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I can't play Guitar Hero because I play too much regular guitar. So
Yeah.
like I can't figure
Just
it
pretend
out.
it's a bass guitar.
Got him.
That's not fair.
I had to. I'm sorry, man.
It's only 4 strings.
So speaking of,
Yeah, and there's like 5 buttons on the Guitar Hero one. Right?
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
probably harder.
it's harder to play Guitar Hero for us.
Chords on a bass because that's just I can't do that. My hands aren't big enough to do
Yeah.
things.
Whenever
Big ends.
Big bass chords.
Oh, that's whenever, occasionally, if Ed here can't make it to practice, then I'll just grab the bass, and my hand is so cramped and tired at the end of it. It's like,
Yeah.
holy
Yeah,
crap,
after
how do
one-
you monkey
after
around
one
on
song,
this thing for that
We
long?
play Damn It or whatever, and you're like,
Put that away.
That's why we
You
gotta
too.
keep
The
our
big
players
guns.
So I can just play as least as possible.
Yeah.
So speaking of, what got you guys into playing music?
No, dude. Metallica?
Yeah.
Ooh, look at that.
I'll give you 5 points right off the bat.
It was what got us into playing music, right?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
what inspired you guys to pick up the instrument that you guys are playing
For
now?
me, I was a huge 80s rock fan. I grew up on that dad rock. You're kind of forced into it, I think, as a, you know what I mean? Like, it depends on the area you grow up, but it's like cheering for a hockey team. You cheer for the team your dad cheers for.
Yeah.
It was the same thing with music
Sure. Oh no.
in the 90s where my dad played the 70s and 80s style music where it was like, okay, well, I guess I'm an 80s.
Yeah.
You guys still there?
Yeah,
It's
it-
glitching out
it's
a little
glitching
bit.
a little bit. We're
Uh-oh.
losing them.
That's not good.
It's freezing.
Let's learn every song I can possibly think of cover-wise from like Skid Row and Maiden and all those songs, and that got me way into it, and just the kind of different styles you can learn how to play and different types of guitar playing there is out there. And then I kind of developed into my own. I was like a huge punk fan for a while too, so I liked playing, you know, riffs like that, those quick hitting riffs, and they kind of developed that strumming hand a little bit. But that's kind of where it started. Was, at least for me, it was just, hey Dad, what do you listen to? Cool, that's what I listen to now.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna be a famous musician because of you.
Nice.
Hey, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure your dad's happy that you're playing, because, like, is it Tom's fault? It's Tom's fault, isn't it?
He's wasting
Yeah.
his time,
Yeah.
his life.
What about you, Tom? Who inspired you?
What got me into playing music? It was weird. I guess like as like when I was really young, I grew up in Northern Ontario, like near Thunder Bay. So I was really secluded and stuff, and I didn't really have. I mean, you're young, so you don't realize this at the time until you change. But there was no music stores where I came from, or like, you know, CD stores or anything like that. And then, you know, for whatever reasons, we had moved to Ottawa, and it was like a complete different change of going from like in the middle of nowhere to, you know, this big place. And it was the first time I ever went to see a music festival, was this place called Tulip Fest. Now in Ottawa, we have one of like the biggest music fests in North America, which is Blues Fest, Ottawa's Blues Fest, which is like, you know, Blues Fest.
Yeah, there's no blues.
Yeah, like
I know.
I'm going to see Foo Fighters on Tuesday night.
Oh.
So like it's not, yeah, whatever.
They skipped us again, eh?
Yeah.
Bunch of dicks.
And then, so anyways, I went to this music festival with actually the big headlining band of this music fest were playing with the radio station. It's a band called Big Sugar, and it was this band that was the first time I had seen, like, holy shit, like someone's playing a guitar like in front of me. Like, I knew guitars existed and all that kind of stuff, but it sounds super dumb. But it was like, it was the first time, like, I remember the difference between imagining what a concert looked like and the first time I was at one. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, this guy played, and he played, like, Oh Canada and shit, like, on, like, in a guitar solo. It was the craziest thing, and he'd play it behind his back, and there was, like, a maple leaf on it. It, like, blew my fucking mind. It was.
Would you say your face melted?
Yeah, so from that time, I remember from that show I saw, I was in like the 6th grade going into the 7th grade or something like that, and I pestered my parents for a guitar. And like, you know, being a family from up north to then moving down to a city, like, we were super broke, you know, like we didn't have very much at all. And I was just like completely oblivious, like, life is awesome, I've seen guitars, so like
I need one.
And out of nowhere, my dad gets me this guitar for Christmas. And I mean, I'm the youngest of 5 guys, and I grew up on like Pantera and Sepultura and Metallica and Ozzy and like and I mean a lot of Metallica, like a stupid amount of Metallica in our house. So that's what I grew up on. When most of the kids I went to school with at the time were into like Spice Girls and stuff like that. I was bringing in like, you know, the Black Album in the show and tell, being like, but like, this shit is cool though. And like, no one thought it was cool. It was just me.
Yeah.
But that, you know, kept kind of driving this thing where, being a kid who moved around all the time, I just had my headphones with me, you know, all the time, and I'd have my bands that I liked. And I remember the craze when, like, you know, you were either a Limp Bizkit or a Korn fan, you know, and then like phase after phase of different music and skateboarding and all this stuff just made me want to do that type of thing. And then it just stuck with me. But I never really showed many people that I played guitar or anything like that, or had an interest, because I was always kind of a ghost kid in different towns. That the first band I've ever was in was actually when I met Goose, and that was the first band I'd ever played with.
Really?
Oh, wow.
And it went from like a bedroom player to all of a sudden traveling super far away from home, being like this is awesome.
Yeah.
Also, really weird at the same time, but this is cool. I want to do this.
I remember being super jealous.
It was that show was awesome.
It was fun.
That was a killer
Right.
show.
Youth Center place. That was awesome. That was
Yeah.
a really good show.
Yeah, I miss those days, man. Well, yeah, it was cool. And we didn't often get to play with bands that were kind of in... A lot of the bands out here were just the hardcore screaming bands.
Yeah.
So when you guys came around and you were actually singing and stuff, we're like, hey, we can hang out with these guys.
Yeah.
How long ago was that show?
That was before you.
No, I was in the band.
No,
That's
you
not-
were there.
Yeah, I played
Five-
that show. That
was that
was
5 years
one of my
ago?
first shows that I ever played. I think it was like my second or third show I ever played.
That's got to be like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
ago.
for sure.
Well,
At
because
least.
it was at the now it's the old bunker again, but then it was at the new bunker at the time. It was a brand new venue.
Yeah, the bunker. That's
Oh, it
right.
was
So-
too. I thought it was
Yeah.
at the old one. for
No, it was
some
at the
No,
new
it was
one.
at the
It was
new
a
one.
great. They had a really cool stage and everything. That
Yeah.
kind of corner thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
reason. It raised
I
up quite
remember
a bit.
we hung out there for a while after and had pizza and shit there. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, those are
But
good times.
yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I guess with the starting to play music and everything, it just never really quit, and it just became something that every time that I got to, a point where I felt that in my developing path I had to make a change. So it was either, leaving that band that I played in, how I met Goose on the tour, and then going into a couple other bands that I did with Mitch here. Into like some really heavy stuff and everything, and real kind of proggy. Like that was weird. Like I was a prog metal guitarist for a while, but like I don't play like
It
that at all.
wasn't really supposed to be that way. This is kind of the way it
Mr.
works.
Bassman's like, I don't think so.
Or the prog thing was really cool at the same time too. So it
Still
was
is.
like, so,
Wink, wink.
So yeah, we kind of stuck together doing stuff, and Ryan and I went to high school together, but he was in a couple bitchin' bands and stuff, and it's kind of just been a cool full circle of old homies that have just come together to like say, hey, like you guys want to just make like big loud guitars and loud drums, and then like we'll just like sing, but maybe kind of almost scream, but we'll just kind of yell and have fun, and then we'll go play
Yeah.
cool shows, know, and that was really the base of it. But then when we started seeing some opportunity, we started working harder, we started focusing harder, and then now it's like, to think that we would have never like individually picked up a guitar in the first place is just fucked to think about.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, Ryan's got a good music story too.
Spit
Tell
it
it.
in. Yeah, your turn.
Your turn.
What do you want to hear about, guys?
Started in Mexico.
Started
It's
in Mexico.
long
Let's know
time
about the
ago.
band Kiss.
Not much,
I
actually.
grew up-
No, I'm just kidding.
I would be like, it'd be like late at night. I'm like on the rafters in his jam room, like just sleeping, but he's jamming like in full Kiss makeup, like with his band, and it was fucking crazy. And-
I know his dad now, so to picture his dad in a full getup, I'm like, yeah.
Nice.
Oh
Yeah,
my word, that's cool.
It was that sparked it all, and like I don't know, like me and my little brother were like huge Kiss fans. Like my dad would like make us fake guitars out of plywood that we'd like air guitar Kiss sets to and stuff like that. Like,
Just like Gene
and it
Simmons.
just- what's that?
Just like Gene Simmons.
Yeah, probably half the time. And it just kind of went from there to like straight to thrash metal, and then did that for I don't know, 10 years,
Cool.
and then
wow.
now we're here playing heavy rock tunes.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Very cool.
That's sweet.
Yeah. You said Metallica earlier too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a big influence.
a gross amount of it.
Yeah.
Cool. I got a quick question for all you guys. Do you guys have guilty pleasures that you guys listen to?
Oh,
And what are they?
Oh, totally. You know what my guilty pleasure, man, and I'll tell you, and I'm proud to say it. These guys have heard it a million times. I love white girl trash bag TV. Okay, so anything that ends in housewives, I'm on it. To date, I love it all. I love basically people watching is my favorite thing. And if I can
Wow.
lay in my own bed or couch and people watch lives that make me feel way better about my own, that's what I want to watch on TV.
So you watch Dr. Phil or
That's
what?
my guilty pleasure.
Cash me outside.
I saw that episode live.
Oh, that's
That was
awesome.
a joke when you first start watching it. Like, this is staged, right? So
Yeah.
you go, that's a crazy bitch. Like, that's
Yeah.
That's funny.
Best.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But
But I don't know. What about you guys?
I don't know.
He doesn't want to share.
Nothing that I'm maybe right now. My guilty pleasure is the Ottawa Senators.
It should be.
That's dark. He's going through some shit.
Yeah, I believe it.
Fair enough.
I love the Backstreet Boys. I'm not
Nice.
Yeah, but that's not like I can admit that like wholeheartedly. Like I like their music. It's not a guilty pleasure.
Nowadays, it's not as big a deal, but back when we were in like high school,
I
shit,
guess.
Oh
so
yeah.
just you're not welcome at the lunch table.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, I think there was a lot of closet people that secretly loved the Backstreet
Oh,
Boys.
yeah. I had a couple of their albums actually that I hid in my CD book.
No one
Yeah,
will know.
No one
there's
will
anything
find
that
this.
I listened to that I wouldn't tell anyone I listened to.
Oh, well.
Even if it is like one of my favorite bands is Time, like that's that 3-girl pop band. Like I love that band. They're really talented, but like they're touring with Taylor Swift, which was also kind of pretty awesome. Like
Yeah,
I
is
don't
pretty
care to
awesome.
share that with you. Like
We're actually gonna be covering "Shake It Off" by Taylor Swift on our set night on
Yeah,
this
we're-
Friday
we're
tomorrow.
playing tomorrow
Yeah.
night.
We,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we did Trouble
Oh yeah.
with.
Yeah, I
with
remember
you
that.
guys.
Yeah,
That was
I
actually-
remember that.
Big like we
That
had
made me so happy.
pedal thing going on. It was pretty.
It sounded
Yeah.
good.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
I
Very
remember
cool.
it. That was
Yeah,
great.
the things that you do in a band.
Taylor
I know,
Swift,
crazy.
man.
You
So
just gotta have
embarrassing.
fun though. You gotta just keep it. I don't know. Keep it crazy.
Yeah, man.
Anyway,
Cool.
it
I
real.
think
Do it
we're
real.
to yeah, we
Thanks,
good?
dude.
Sorry.
English is hard.
It is hard, man.
That
are
was-
you kicking us
To be
off?
to be fair, I didn't.
Get the fuck outta here.
No.
See ya.
yeah, that's it. That's all we can
Yeah,
handle of you
that's all the
guys.
time
man.
we
No,
got.
we're truthfully we're playing for 3 hours tomorrow, and we got to really practice.
Yeah.
So we're on a time crunch
It's a
tonight.
big set.
But we'll definitely have to have you guys back on again.
Yeah.
Man, for sure. Well, when we have our single out, we have a song coming out next called "Trapped Under Ice," and
nice.
it's going to be the first single off of the record that follows.
Sweet.
And when that comes out, we'll make sure we get it over to you guys to get it up and show some people over there.
Yeah,
That'd be
totally.
sweet.
Absolutely.
Check out Eagleson. Thanks for joining us today, guys.
Cool.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That was it for the Green Room today. See ya.
Peace.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.